Hey, this is Max. I'm back with another CSR2 video. This is the last video of the 5-video series for Tempest 2 Tier 1 on a newer account utilizing minimum amount of fusions as possible to try to get through. What I'm going to tell you right now is that you can possibly beat Sneak missing specific fusions for up to 3 and still make the time. But anything more than that, you're dead in the water. You're not going to be able to beat them. What I ended up with is I have the transmission rare. In fact, I have 3 of them because the game gave me a bunch of duplicates. I never did get any tires. And I actually beat Sneak without the 2 tire fusions because they don't take out that much of your Evo points versus, say, the trans. Now, let's take a look at what happens missing the 3 right now. Tuning it to the best possible Evo gave me a 701. 701 gives you a dyno of 12.184. Anything under 12.19, there's a chance you can take Sneak down because he runs at 12.20 something. But that is a very, very small margin. And we all know that this car does not drive to dyno that easily. You have to drive it perfectly to get dyno. And the stress of dealing with a boss race and one bad shift can cause you to lose that final race. And that is why that shift would have cost me the race right there to 5th. You never shift into 5th. This is going to be a 12.2 something run. So any little mistake would cause you to run, and you would lose against the boss and you won't get his car. So you don't want to do that. That was miserable as far as a run is concerned against the boss race. You would have lost by quite a bit. So even at the 12.186, it's really kind of risky to take them on. You really want to have all your fusions in, but if you're missing 1 or 2, is it not doable? It is still doable. It's just going to be really hard, and you don't want to make any mistakes during this run. And you just leave it in 4th. Don't touch it. Let it ride its way out. At this point, you would get probably your best possible run out of it, and you can hope that it beats Sneak's time. It's going to be tough, and that did not beat Sneak's time. So without that transfusion, even driving as best as I could have, I would have lost. So dyno can be deceiving. It says you can do it. A lot of us won't be able to do it. So what about if I add the trans in? Is that extra 1020 Evo going to make the difference? It probably will. And this is why you really need to try to wait till you're not missing more than 2 rares, because that would totally eliminate your chances of getting it done altogether. The one that you definitely don't want to be missing, and if you are missing this one, you probably won't beat Sneak, is because that one's worth almost 50 points. Okay, the nitrous. The others are more arguably less impactful. I know turbo engine is not a big deal. Body's not a big deal. Like this one, you can, well, it's still 20 points. I mean, it'll make a difference, but this is going to be less of a difference overall than, say, if you're missing nitrous, which means you just can't do it. So as long as you can get yourself above 700 and I would say 710 after tuning, you have a decent chance of taking Sneak out. If you can do at least a 12.16 or better on the dyno, I think you're looking pretty good. And that's really ultimately what I had. I had this 12.141 dyno. I went into the last 2 race and I was able to get Sneak's car. And again, it was with no mistakes whatsoever when I'm driving, because if I made one mistake of any sort, I would have lost. And that is not a fun feeling when you're going into something that you only get one shot at. If you screw up the boss race, obviously you won't get the boss car and you don't get a second chance. So if you got this far and you're still missing fusions, then there's not much there's to say. I mean, you have to wait. Without getting all these fusions in, your chances of success is basically very, very low. Sneak's Trackster is the fastest new T1 car. It is well worth getting. So a little extra patience would be rewarding you with a new T1 car that is going to be the best T1 car for now. It also is an easy T1 car to build because it's a Ford and you can get all the Fusions very quickly, even if you didn't have any extra Ford Fusions. Knowing that we just had the Ford as a PC car, you should be sitting on a pile of Fusions at this point, at least uncommons and rares. Epics being what they are, you probably don't have many. Now, so let's take a look. In the end, I beat Sneak, took his car with the Mazda Miata. Same tune and setup, but at this point, there is no tuning and setup to worry about. Your setup is going to be max. Your tuning is going to be basically the same tune you've been using in the last bracket, but maybe with a slight variation. You may be running 4.0, 2.67, and 11 or 10 on the tire, but basically this is the setting you end up with at the end, being the best possible setting to get the time. The trick really is coming down to driving. If you've been consistently running slower than 12.2s, I would seriously suggest you to do some practice runs in test and tune until you're totally ready to go. I hope this is helpful to you as a final video. At this point, you're either ready or you're not. I can tell you in total, from beginning to end, I ended up using 6 fusions out of my inventory, and they were all uncommons. I got tons of duplicates from certain rares and uncommons that were very much not useful to me. If I didn't have these 6 uncommons in my inventory, I would have never made it this far. And if you have no fusions in inventory, you will most likely get stuck, unless you get lucky at the fusion lottery during the event. So that concludes round 2 of Tempest 3 Tier 1. Feel free to leave comments and ask questions. Again, I can't help you tune around the lack of fusions. You don't have the fusions, you're not going to get through the event. There's no way I can show you a magical tune to get around that. Driving technique just requires a lot of practice, but it certainly does impact your ability to win the boss car. Even if you had a fully fusioned car, your margin of error is about 1/10, so a bad shift, driving poorly, bad launch, all that could cost you the car. Well, that is that. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. I will be putting up additional videos over time. I am now on my last 10 race in Tier 3 with the Audi RS5, and it has been a very easy process. I will also be taking on Tier 2 again with a a Porsche Boxster. And finally, my plan with T5 is to use a McLaren 570 VX, which many people have used successfully to get through Tier 5. Tier 4 is still in the works. I am tempted to go ahead and buy more parts for the Eclipse, but that is still a debate I'm having with myself. I will let you know what I do in the end. As always, thank you for watching and stay tuned for additional videos.